Mayor Lori Lightfoot danced in the street as her city suffers from increasing crime. The mayor's re-election campaign in full swing as the city's election day is under 1 month away. Joining me now is Fraternal Order of Police National Vice President Joe Gamaldi. Joe, great to see you again. I hate to tell you, but Lori Lightfoot is one of the most conservative candidates running in this election. There's only one that I've noticed, a guy named Willie Wilson, who's an entrepreneur in the city, he's pretty hardcore on cracking down on crime. But the rest of them are following the same kind of policy she has.
Well, she certainly is the dancing fool while her city burns there, David. Isn't that great? I mean, imagine the audacity and just how tone deaf you have to be to do something like this. While under your watch, violent crime is up 98%. Shootings are up 58%. Murders are up 28%. I mean, folks, if you're living in the Chicago area, you must vote for change. Vote for a candidate that believes in law and order and supporting police officers, because it has destroyed your tax base. Businesses are moving out. I mean, let's give that community back to the law-abiding, hardworking citizens instead of the dirtbag criminals that have complete opportunity to change the future of Chicago.
Now, I knew the moment that tape was released before the weekend of what happened in Memphis that led to the killing of Tyre Nichols, that in fact that would make it very difficult for anybody to talk tough about police activity in an upcoming election. I mean, again, it was a horrific tape, what we saw, and I want to get your reaction to the tape in just a minute. But does that make it almost impossible for anybody to talk about getting tough on crime right now?
Well, I think it's definitely a challenge because people are rolling out their normal talking points about we need to defund the police. We had AOC, who's just a complete charlatan and a hack, coming out saying, well, officers have shot 1,000 people last year, with absolutely no nuance to the conversation about how over 95% of those people were armed with a weapon, how we're living in the most violent time in this country than we have in 30 years, and the fact that we've had 700 police in a complete political hack. It doesn't exactly move the conversation forward, and it only separates us further.
Now, the officers in that tape clearly did not have the training they needed to de-escalate the situation, or if they did, they were just not the right people for the job. I mean, let's face it. Does it show you anything about how desperate cities are to hire people? The fact that there is such depression among the police all over the nation right now because of the defunding of the police, the disrespecting of police, that it's hard to get good recruits.
Well, you know, David, I've been a police officer for 18 years, and what I saw on that tape wasn't police work, and it's not consistent with any training I've ever seen. But you know what? There are 800,000 police officers across this country that do a great job every single day. Those officers aren't indicative of them. They go out there and they put their lives on the line for communities. Those officers were fired. Ex-officers were fired. They were arrested. They were charged with felonies, murder, and other various felonies. So the system is working. But to your point about recruitment and retention, this only makes things much more difficult to find people to want to take this job. But it also makes it much more difficult for the officers that are already out there, because now we have to live in the aftermath of that. People continuing to call us murderers and continuing to spit in our faces. It's not good for any of us, so we certainly don't support any of that, and we're just as pissed off as everybody else.
Well, Joe, we certainly support you in the work that you do as a sergeant of police force. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming in. Good to see you. Well, turn